This video was brought to you by Patreon, and this lovely patron right here. Please support the channel for more videos like these in the future. I couldn't do it without the patrons these days. The term creator on YouTube is really loose. We include Logan Paul in the same group of people we include Corridor Digital or Captain Christian. In my opinion, the term creator is embodied by very few people, and it's something that I aspire to each day. But none have really achieved my meaning of creator quite as well as George Miller has. George, over the last year or two, has gone through an astonishing transformation from content like this,
"Hello, Wheels! How are you today?"
to new music like this. Now, for the uninitiated, you might be wondering why I have such respect for a man who sings songs where he says, and I quote, "I eat ass, I eat a lot of ass." But that versatility is exactly why he is so amazing. I recently saw an interview with Mariana Trench frontman Josh Ramsey, and he wonderfully demonstrates the point that I'm really trying to make here.
Aesthetically and I think musically too, I think if you want to have a long career, I look at artists that I look up to who enjoyed very long careers, and they're all people who were constantly reinventing. Right. You can't just do the same thing. I'm really talking more musically at this point, but you can't just do the same thing over and over again and expect people to keep coming unless it's AC/DC.
We have our first hater!
George has been a creator for a while. His oldest channel, Disaster Music, holds much of the old Filthy Frank content. But the videos go back until Frank was about 14 with videos like this gem.
Now turn on BT. That's only good programming.
Honestly, something about it is just extremely wholesome. Granted, you can see the outlandish humor come through, it's just kids doing kid things. If you're curious, that ginger boy on screen, yeah, that is actually Dade, who has a Twitter and is currently working on something. I suggest you guys keep up with it. His Twitter is @BoldInternetMan. Follow him. Even the oldest Filthy Frank content now has this melancholy simplicity and passion to it, which sounds strange given that he's taking a dump.
Of course, diarrhea just exploded all over the place.
We go from something as simple as that to big set pieces with multiple cameos and characters and internal world lore about the denizens that Frank interacts with. The growth and love for this character is amazing, and to even see a project like this be retired is even stranger on YouTube. Now, as far as YouTube goes, George really hit a stride with the Filthy Frank channel. The absurdist comedy gets more absurd with videos like almond titties, new characters are introduced and added into the mix, and production quality really improved over this time. The Pink Guy music also got really good too, with internet classics like Shut the Fuck Up, and honestly, he even did Harlem Shake, so this man becoming an internet legend was bound to happen.
Suck my dick.
The Filthy Frank character is deeply ingrained with music, mind you. Satirical songs became his bread and butter with albums like Pink Guy. To think the man making sad love songs now was the same man singing about peanut butter being on his testicles, and honestly, I honestly wouldn't believe you. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of his new fans had any idea he did YouTube before music. Pink Guy and the Filthy Frank channel were part of my formative years on the internet. I won't lie. My parents wouldn't let me watch raunchy things like South Park, but that didn't really matter because the person talking about the things I wanted was Filthy Frank.
Milk? That's right. Almond.
Obviously, Frank was a character. It was George's teenage humor, but the character caused a lot of conflict for George. George uploaded a video and then removed those videos, basically discussing how stressful the channel was for him.
Couple months. Long story short, I was born with this, but I was recently diagnosed with a brain condition that ironically gives me seizures.
Many people talk about the power Filthy Frank had in making George's career. He had been making music quietly on the side while producing Filthy Frank content. The Filthy Frank show had George feeling stuck, stagnant, and drowning in the brand that he had created. He didn't want people to listen to his quote real music thinking that it's the same guy who talked about chromosomes and ball hair. George said in an interview, "As stuck people do, I was indulging in vices and drinking a lot. It got to the point where I was showing up to sets and the PAs knew there had to be a 6-pack of beer there." There was this pervasive conflict developing with and around George. His art, whether it was funny or not, was suffocating him, making him feel trapped. He could make better Pink Guy music, but it wasn't him. He could make better Filthy Frank videos, but that wasn't really him either. George wanted to be himself. He wanted to be Joji and drop the act, but he had to do something to get away from that. Contrary to what most people assume about talent in music, George went to 88 Rising, the record label, and asked them for a signing to help bring his Joji music to the mainstream. Pink Guy satirized and made fun of the real Joji, and if he wanted to be an artist, he needed to drop this side to him. So he did. September 27, 2017, he released Francis of the Filth, a book and the final video to send off the character and close the book on Filthy Frank. He issued one last statement on the Filthy Frank, saying, "I believe an official statement as to why I am now done with comedy is owed to my former fan base. Unfortunately, I no longer enjoy producing that content. Several serious health concerns, including but not limited to throat tissue damage and neurological conditions that I prefer not to get into." George became George full-time and released In Tongues. His music was instantly a hit. I feel this need to do something different is inherent to a lot of artists, and the fact that Filthy Frank never bit George in the ass is actually astounding. This isn't to say the absurdism is gone. George has expressed his want to make a good song out of fart sounds. His music is filled with dreamlike worlds and strangeness. His music has a lo-fi mystic quality to it. George said quite simply, "I just like creating stuff. It doesn't matter what the medium is." And that right there is what I think truly makes him an amazing creator. Hey Internet, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was definitely different from anything that I've done previous to this. I actually had an editor do this. So tell me what you thought about this, and maybe this will be a regular thing with the Patreon videos. I'm not entirely sure. Tell me what you thought down in the comments below, and tell me, what did you like about Filthy Frank and Joji? Did you appreciate his artwork or his passion, or what really brought you that kind of joy with his content? Because I see a lot of people talk about how much they love Filthy Frank and all of that. But in the meantime, tell me about some other creators that you think inspire you or think embody my feelings and emotions on what makes a YouTube creator, quote unquote. Anyway, with that being said, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, everything at FPS Diesel, and make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button for more videos like these. Anyway, guys, take care.